This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
PM Marape provides employment data for new bill presented to Parliament for rectification, and Jufa raises concern on transnational crime. A very good evening. This is National Emtv News. I'm Louis Maingu. Thank you for joining us. Prime Minister James Marape has provided a report in yesterday's Parliament sitting on a question raised by the provincial member for East Sepik, Allenbird, on employment statistics since 2019. In the first Parliament sitting on Tuesday, the provincial member for East Sepik, Allenbird, had asked a series of questions to the Prime Minister James Marape on the employment statistics since the Prime Minister took office. Yesterday, Prime Minister Marape responded with an employment data extracted from the Internal Revenue Commission.
But in the private sector employment space, in 2018, there was 453,222. In 2019, 484,811. In 2023, in all sectors, we have 547,839. There's evidence of increase in employment numbers.
Responding to the Prime Minister's report, the East Sepik provincial member highlighted that only 100,000 jobs were created in the last 5 years. He further elaborated.
Speaker, people of Papua New Guinea like Sabe. What are we doing with their money? If we are creating jobs, where are they?
Member for Vanimo Green also made a statement on the report presented by the Prime Minister.
I would have been expecting the Prime Minister to get his figures and statistics from the Ministry of Labour and Employment. Not this 2 or 3 page printout from IRC. IRC collects tax. And this tax may be dating back 10 years.
The opposition claimed that the report on employment data extracted from Internal Revenue Commission and presented by Prime Minister had no real statistics. Prime Minister James Marape highlighted that the government will not increase employment in the public sector except in law enforcement agencies, health and education. Marape made this statement when presenting the report on employment in yesterday's Parliament sitting.
This is not to include the government sector. I want to announce to our country, my government, one of the obligations we have to ourselves is to curtail no expansion in the public service recurrent. We don't want to increase the public sector employee space except police, health worker and teachers. And the ministerial services, those will see some increase, but the rest we're putting a stop.
Department of Justice and Attorney General have completed 4 bills that are currently before the Parliament for rectification. These bills aimed at getting all disputes covered by specific laws.
A total of 4 bills have been completed by the Department of Justice and Attorney General and are ready to be tabled on the floor of Parliament in the coming days. DJEC Secretary Dr. Eric Kwak confirmed that 2 arbitration bills are now before the Parliament to improve the arbitration process, including domestic arbitration and international arbitration.
The whole idea is that we want to improve the arbitration process in Papua New Guinea. Lawyer and multiplier 1951, so for the first time the department with the help of the judiciary have now completed those 2 bills and we bring it forward. So the whole idea is to get all disputes, whether local or international, covered by a specific law. And so we have a domestic arbitration bill and international arbitration bill.
The department also tried to standardize the retirement age of constitutional office holders.
Because at the moment you have the judges, the retirement age is 75. And then we've got ICAC, whose retirement age is 75 as well. And just recently, last year, we got the Ombudsman Commission. The retirement age also increased to 75. So we have just completed the bills, and it's going to come for the next Parliament sitting to increase the retirement age of the Electoral Commissioner. Currently, it's 55. We're bringing it to 75. The register of political parties, currently 50, bring it to 75. We have the public prosecutor and public solicitor and the chief magistrate and the auditor general. We want to bring them all up to 75.
Currently in the Parliament, they will amend the Public Service Management Act to increase the retirement age of the Public Service Commission.
CEO and Chief Executive Officer, I think, and Chairman of the NEFC, National Economic and Fiscal Commission. He's a constitutional office. His term is also 55. We're going to bring it up to 75. So those are now before Parliament, and we hope that that can be done easily for all of us. Apart from that, we're waiting for the public solicitor. We hope that when we get the new public prosecutor, then we will work with him to reform his laws, because it's quite outdated.
He concludes that they are also looking at reforming the provision and parole laws as well to make it modern. Esther Gane, National Emtv News.
Following the two bills tabled on the floor of Parliament on court restructure and declaring PNG a Christian country, Provincial Member for East Sepik Province, Alan Bird, said he was expecting the Parliament to pass bills based on the pressing issues faced in the country.
And I was expecting that we would make changes to the Evidence Act, for example. Me expecting this la bill lo come la house. Because now some money cost him heavy or manami online ni go na oli bin lo Black Wednesday oli still na oli kissing photo blolet na post him lo Facebook na desla kain. Currently our laws don't allow us to use that evidence to prosecute them. So I was expecting that bill to come today. So we can pass him bill or help him or police lo prosecute him or money brook him law. There's a lot of cyber bullying going on where young people are bullying each other and they are committing suicide. Now me expecting one bill or come lo floor so we can outlaw cyberbullying amongst young people. Our people are having a cost of living crisis. I was expecting a bill that would help deal with issues like that.
After a year of attempt and delay, New Island Governor Sir Julius Chen announced that finally 8 of his proposed bills are now registered as private members' bill.
Governor Sir Julius Chen, during the second Parliament session, the 14th of February 2024, gave notice to the 8 bills. These are as follows: the first, constitutional amendment law on autonomous government insertion of Part 15 in the Constitution to allow for the creation of autonomous governments for greater political, administrative, and financial powers to provincial governments. The second, organic law amendment on autonomous government. The third, mining amendment bill 2019. The fourth, organic law on PNG's ownership of hydrocarbon and minerals. The fifth, organic law on PNG's ownership of hydrocarbon and the consolidation and commercialization of PNG's business law 2016. The sixth, Land Amendment Bill 2023. The seventh, Provincial Health Authority Amendment Bill 2023. And the final is the New Island University Bill 2020. Following naming of these bills, Sir Julius further stated,
my notice was given from the chair by the clerk on the Provincial Health Authority Act of 2007, but in my absence, I believe the Minister for Health came in with some sort of amendment, and whether this is allowable in the procedure of the standing orders. To superimpose another similar matter on a bill which is already before Parliament.
During the December 2023 Parliament sitting, Sir Julius sought clarity from the Parliament Speaker after his bills were not included in the notice paper since May 2023. After the second Parliament motion presentation, Sir Julius states that the process is still a long way, but he is optimistic for favourable outcome. The Private Business Committee will now determine whether these bills are matters of national importance, and a copy of the motion will be given to the clerk for reporting to the Parliament for a second reading, which will give the opportunity to members of Parliament to debate. Francisca Anania, National Emtv News.
The provincial member for Oro Province, Gary Jufa, has raised concerns on the floor of Parliament yesterday on transnational crimes, particularly the rise of new drugs and its consumption in PNG.
The provincial member for Oro Province highlighted that when he was a law enforcement officer, they were combating the rise of transnational crimes, where they started to see the emergence of transnational criminal cartels.
Papua New Guinea was just a transit point. Today, Papua New Guinea is also a production point. This is frightening. In the past, what we observed were cartels were flying in what they call cooks to cook the drugs in the in the country before exporting them on log ships, on yachts and other small craft. Now they have their own cooks trained here to do that, and they're operating here.
Gary Jufa also mentioned the new drugs that are on the market in our towns and cities.
Heroin, cocaine, opium, and methadone, methamphetamines, fentanyl, and a frightening new drug that's emerging in the Western countries called tranq, animal tranquilizer. Very addictive, very cheap. And it's finding its way into the Pacific. It's already here on the streets of Port Moresby.
Jufa stated that there had been instances where policemen and public servants have been caught using these drugs. He added that if these cheap drugs hit the streets and is accessible to the youths, it will become a serious concern for the government.
A growing youth bulge who are restless, unoccupied. If we don't do anything about them, they will become a serious concern for us. If these drugs become accessible to them, we will have serious problems.
Provincial member Gary Jufa reflects back when he was working in law enforcement.
I remember as Director for Intelligence, I wrote many assessments to the government of the day about this emerging problem. This was in 2008. We started to see what was happening. It's happening now.
He made a recommendation saying that the police need to be empowered to develop the capacity that it needs to address this growing issue.
National Emtv News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National Emtv News. National Forest Inventory Project in the country has been implemented by Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations in a close collaboration with Papua New Guinea Forest Authority. Minister for Forestry, Salio Waipo, revealed that this is PNG's first national forest inventory.
The collaboration is part of PNG FA's efforts to assess and monitor the country's forest resources and provide comprehensive data on the extent, composition and the condition of PNG's forests to support sustainable forest management practices. Apart from collecting data for trees, NFI will also look at lower plants, carbon content, insects and birds. The implementation of NFI is carried out through the use of FAO technologies, which are also used for land cover mapping, deforestation monitoring, and assessing changes in land use over time.
Getting our people knowing better how to harvest their forest. They must know the sustainable way of doing forest harvest. So that is what we are encouraging, and with the FAO, they're doing all the surveys so we understand actual forests that we have and how much that is there for our country. And I thank them for the technology they brought into our country.
The minister affirmed that the customary land ownership of forests helps the country to stay green.
It helps our Papua New Guinea, and also we get their consents in doing things, because we elected members of parliament or leaders of our country are mandated by those people, and their interest is our interest. We need to protect. Our priority now is to go downstream, do things that are more sustainable for our people, and protect our forests.
Minister Waipo revealed that NFI has been carried out in 7 provinces of PNG so far, and Western Islands Province is the 8th province currently being inventoried. He said NFI is all about protecting the country's environment and biodiversity for today's youth and future generations. Malinta Yopolo, National Emtv News.
PNG Trade Union Congress signed a contract with 2 agri-businesses to help carry out trainings under the PNG TUC and International Labour Organization program to improving the informal sector and economy in PNG. The contract signing was between PNG TUC, JS Innovation and Goroka Agri-Training Institute.
The signing took place at the PNG TUC headquarters at Korobosea today, where TUC leader Anton Sekum, JS Innovations National Coordinator Joseph Sukuyanom, and representatives from Goroka Agri-Training Institute. The 2 local businesses will carry out any training set up by the union and ILO in selected settlement areas as a pilot program. TUC Acting General Secretary Anton Sekum further elaborates.
We have taken this opportunity provided to us through the ILO, which we are thankful of, to actually participate in creating and empowering our informal sector, giving them an opportunity to participate either in formal employment or self-employment.
Mr. Sekum stated that further steps in terms of government awareness and expansion of the union and ILO partnership program will be after the pilot program is carried out. JS Innovations Joseph Sukuyanom stated that this partnership with PNG TUC and ILO is to help many informal sector people be independent and learn how to support themselves and those around them.
It's a beginning of new narratives that must be spearheaded by our union movements and its affiliates throughout Papua New Guinea to help stand by the people, to participate in economic activity so that we don't just become beggars, but we are producers of wealth. This is very, very important.
The PNG TUC ILO program was launched on the 14th of February and is in process of commencing soon. Francisca Anania, National Emtv News.
The Papua New Guinea Nurses Savings and Loan Society Limited currently has 4,000 members registered in the company. This was revealed by the national president of the PNG Nurses Association, Frederick Kebai.
With the impressive record of membership for the newly established Savings and Loan Society company, Mr. Kebai said it is now looking at 10,000 workers of the health department to be members of the Nurses Savings and Loan Society Limited.
We have the largest workforce in the country when it comes to the membership. 4,000 is our current membership, and I tell you it's a huge number. As per the savings and loan, if you have 500 members, you are eligible to start, but we are more than that. And as our pioneer executive alluded, we will tap into a lot of clients and we'll have to get them on board.
Mr. Kebai affirmed that there will be transparency and accountability in the company's operations.
This is our very own entity. We have established it with our own resources to have the entity in place. And through that, there will always be
transparency and accountability in the running of our National Savings and Loan Society.
The former island's rep and pioneer of PNG-NA, Lanson Inanu, said to give competition to other savings and loan society companies in the country, non-health workers can be members of the NASA Savings and Loan Society Limited.
And other people can use the facility so that we can give a competition to establish unions with savings and loan, so that we can have a competition in the country. So other non-health workers can also join in us to benefit from it.
Inanu highlighted the significance of the role of board of directors and encouraged them to do their jobs diligently regardless of criticisms that may arise in the future. With the impressive record of membership for the newly established Savings and Loan Society company, Mr. Kebai said it is now looking at 10,000 workers of the health department to be members of the NESA's Savings and Loan Society Limited.
You branch executives are here. There will be criticisms from members because we are latecomers. Please convince them this is yours. This is yours. NESA's unions, business arm. We will have to grow with the member support.
Malinta Yopolo, National Emtv News.
PNG's National Statistic Office boss, John Igitoy, explained the sole purpose of conducting a census. The chief statistician said there are two main reasons for conducting census throughout the country.
In the lead-up to the 2024 national census that is expected to begin in July, the national statistician John Igitoy said it is important for the people to know why censuses are carried out in the country. To begin with, he said the first objective is to clear the confusion on the exact population of the country.
We do need to get an accurate number of people living in the country in order for us. Basically, there are two things. Why we want to get this accurate number is basically for us to put aside different estimates people are using about the population in the country. And we want the population to be just only one single population number that can be used by everyone across the country, including our development partners and investors and everyone else. Because they've got so many estimates around, floating around, from 9 million people all the way to about 13 or 14 million people. So that has to be put to rest. And so we need to have a proper count of the population, and that must be recorded as the official population of the country so that whoever wants to use.
Second, and most importantly, the country needs to establish actual statistical data in order for the government to plan and prioritize its development agendas.
One other thing, the second thing is that the population makes up a baseline information as a common denominator for development planning, effective resource allocation, governance of each people, like, for example, how many schools do we need to build, elementary schools, classrooms, high school teachers' houses, and even training of those people. We also need to know the number of clinics that needs to be built, the number of midwives that we need to build, train. We need to know the number of drugs that we need to procure, and all these things, and the transport system, how many roads that we need to build across different areas of the country.
According to Igitoy, based on multiple surveys carried out by NSO and other stakeholder partners, the country's population is estimated to be around 11.5 million. The last census was conducted in 2011. Another census was due in 2021, but due to funding constraints and COVID-19, it has been postponed over the last 3 years. The national census is set to begin in July and end in August this year and will cost the national government over 100 million kina. Edson Kuso, National Emtv News.
Puma Energy Limited has taken steps in reducing its fuel supply and operations as affected airline operators in the country. PNG Air wishes to inform its customers and the traveling public that they will reduce their operations until fuel supply is restored.
In a statement released, Puma Energy has begun to issue termination notices to customers and will aim to renegotiate contracts with new terms for lower volumes. Puma Energy stated the remaining fuel stock in PNG will be allocated to emergency services and critical infrastructure as priority until a long-term viable solution can be put in place to return to business to its full scale. Having said that, PNG stated they will update their passengers continuously regarding their flights and will review schedules for fuel availability continually, with the decisions driven by operational safety. PNG Air also made mention that they will not be responsible for accommodation on disrupted flights due to limited fuel allocation and restrictions throughout delays and cancelling of flights. PNG Air apologizes to the customers for the inconvenience caused and stated that their call center team will be in contact with the passengers who have purchased tickets. Claire Mauta, National Emtv News.
National Emtv News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National Emtv News. Moving to overseas news now. Ex-tropical cyclone Lincoln has weakened over northern Australia after crossing the coast as a Category 1 system.
The tropical cyclone Lincoln made landfall in the Gulf region last night and has this morning been downgraded to an ex-tropical cyclone. It is currently tracking southwest towards the Tennant Creek area from Borroloola. For small towns and communities like Alparalorum and Brunette Downs and Creswell Downs, all the way to Elliott on the Stewart Highway, those communities have been warned to expect heavy rainfall of up to 200 millimetres today and damaging wind gusts of up to 100 kilometres per hour.
The situation in Gaza is worsening by the day, with 1.1 million children facing starvation, according to aid agency Save the Children.
The humanitarian crisis is getting worse every single day. Even before the escalations today, there was not enough supplies getting into Gaza. In Rafah right now, there's an estimated 1.3 million people that are sheltering there. Now, this is beyond the capacity of Rafah, which means that there's literally nowhere left to go. When you look out in the sidewalks, there's tents everywhere. People are sheltering in Rafah because there is nowhere else left to go. Insufficient supplies, the continued attack on healthcare. For example, Nasser Hospital. Again, kids are getting injured every single day with the increased escalation in fighting, with the malnutrition rates increasing because there isn't any food. Again, the latest reports indicate that every single person in Gaza is food insecure. You have a situation where 1.3 million people are living either in a shelter, in a tent, being exposed to the elements, without healthcare, without adequate food, malnutrition, public health emergency on the brink of exploding. Again, we see diarrheal diseases everywhere. We see lots of kids turning up to the health centers with jaundice, but we don't know if it's hepatitis because we can't test for it and we can't treat for it. This means that it's almost impossible to do the work that we need to do.
Russian opposition leader and fierce Kremlin critic has died in jail. His death has prompted global condemnation, with Western leaders laying the blame at the feet of the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin.
I'm outside the Russian embassy in London, where hundreds of people have come out to show their support for Alexei Navalny. The mood here is mixed. People are angry, but they're also deeply saddened at losing what they consider to be a beacon of democracy in Russia. And it really has come as a huge shock and surprise to the world. Just yesterday, Alexei Navalny was seen at a court appearance via video link from a notorious prison in the Arctic Circle on a video, and then within hours he was reportedly dead. Prison authorities said he lost consciousness after going out for a walk, and then he couldn't be revived. This really is considered a blow to the democracy movement in Russia and also the opposition. He was seen as being the fiercest, most staunch critic against Vladimir Putin. He really rose to global prominence in 2011 after he exposed corruption in the parliamentary elections. He then announced that he was going to run for president in 2017, but his candidacy was blocked. He continued to do his work, announcing dozens of investigations into corruption at the highest levels of Russian government. And then in 2020, we'll remember that he was poisoned with the nerve agent Novichok. He was then flown to Germany to recover, and in early 2021 he announced he would return to Russia despite the fact that there were reports he would be detained. That's exactly what happened. He was arrested on arrival into Moscow and charged with a number of different offences, including extremism and fraud, charges that he, his supporters and also many global leaders have described as being politically motivated. He was then subsequently sentenced to more than 30 years in prison.
Donald Trump has been ordered to pay hundreds of millions of dollars by the judge overseeing his New York civil fraud trial. The former president and his two adult sons will also be barred from doing business in the state where he made his name.
It was never really a question of whether Donald Trump would be punished. The question was always how big the fine would be and what other punishments the justice might impose. In the end, the Attorney General got almost exactly what she wanted. Donald Trump is going to have to pay more than $500 million because he fraudulently inflated the value of the assets of his company, the Trump Organization, in order to receive financial benefit. He wanted to get better terms on mortgages, and he wanted to get better terms when it came to insurance premiums. And although it was hard to find exactly who the victims were in these cases, effectively the justice found that Donald Trump had defrauded the people of New York, and therefore this fine will go some way to giving back that money to the state of New York. Perhaps even more painful, though, for Donald Trump will be this ban imposed on him for 3 years that he can no longer carry out business here in the state where he built his reputation, where he built the Trump brand. And it's not just Donald Trump who won't be able to do business in New York. His two adult sons, Eric Trump and Don Jr., both won't be able to carry out business here in New York for the next 2 years. There was some scathing words from Justice Arthur Engoron. Now, the context here is that this was a 3-month trial, and the interactions between Donald Trump and the justice, especially when Donald Trump was in the witness stand, were something to behold. He seemed to have little respect for the justice and the way he was carrying out the courtroom proceedings, and Justice Arthur Engoron has returned serve in this particular judgment. He says Donald Trump and the other defendants in this case are incapable of admitting the error of their ways. Their complete lack of contrition and remorse borders on pathological.
Well, we'll be appealing, but more important than that, this is Russia, this is China, this is the same game. It all comes out of the DOJ, it all comes out of Biden. It's a witch hunt against his political opponent. He ruled against me before he even got the case. He ruled against me, said I was guilty. He didn't know what I was guilty of before he even got the case. And Letitia James, that's another case altogether. She's a horribly corrupt attorney general, and it's all having to do with election interference.
National Emtv News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Today marks the kickoff of the Port Moresby Soccer Association's pre-season tournament at the Bissini Oval.
The Port Moresby Soccer Association competition manager Joseph Ame is getting teams ready for the upcoming season just 6 weeks away.
This weekend, I'm playing first 2024 pre-season with some around 6 weekends. So inside those 6 weekends, we play at all teams that already stayed. And one man wanted 33 teams. Now women's team wanted 6 teams. So I'm running this competition.
9 top teams are battling it out in the male division, with 3 new teams joining from outside Port Moresby.
We got a couple of teams that two new teams will come inside. Pom Masters, we play got a triple. Pom Masters, Rayo Y FC, and one team do Rigo. Now one play team Ken do Rigo yet. Rigo FC, and one triple team will outside teams will come inside. But other than that, all 30 teams and all regular teams will play Port Moresby Soccer Association.
Registration is still open for both male and female teams, with the aim of keeping players in top shape before the main season starts. James Cooken, Trukai Sports.
In a recent announcement, Kalibobo United FC regretfully disclosed their inability to participate in the upcoming Port Moresby Soccer Association Hara Cup pre-season tournament 2024 due to financial constraints.
The Kalibobo United Football Club management cited unforeseen financial challenges as the reason behind this decision. Despite the disappointment faced by players and fans, the club is focused on resolving the situation and ensuring the team's long-term stability. Players have been assured that efforts are underway to find solutions swiftly. The club expressed gratitude to fans for their unwavering support and promised to keep them informed about the future developments. James Guken, Trukai Sports.
The Public Sevens netball competition completed their round games today and will go into the playoffs next weekend.
Public Sevens Netball Association President Anivo Kali told his newsroom that the competition started in last year October and will end in March.
So far, our competition hasn't been doing well because of the turnout of teams that have been coming, but we started back in October and it's been running since then. We closed up for the holidays, and after the holidays there was a bit of glitch because of what happened recently with the SOE.
Match Committee Olovu Vele also said that 35 teams are currently participating in the competition.
Okay, we have 35 teams that are playing now. There were more than that, but as my president or the interim president has mentioned, some teams have pulled out, but currently we have 35 teams that are playing now. So we are in the round 2 games now. This is our the game 3. We have 2 more games before we play our playoffs or the knockouts, which will be next month.
Jonathan Sibona, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. Port Moresby AFL is expecting 4 major events this year. This was revealed by the president, Douglas Lai.
President Lai said that the major events include the International Cup, Asia Cup, Euro Cup and the National Championship.
We also have 3 international matches this year. So we really need to, start as early as possible. Most of the representative players are boys and girls from the POM AFL competition. They make up the bigger numbers than the other centers.
Lai also stated that there will be an official meeting tomorrow to discuss all the matters.
Well, there's the International Cup, which has been shelved for the last couple of, I think, 4 years or 6 years. I think there's the Asia Cup and the Euro Cup, something of that sort. Yeah, we were advised by the Commission, PNG AFL Commission, that the national championships would be held around April. So you can see the reason why we need to start early. We will definitely name our sides in a week's time, coming weeks, and then get started with training and preparations.
Jonathan Sibona, Trukai Sports.
Moving to overseas sports now. In NRL, the Indigenous All-Stars have beaten the Maori All-Stars 22 to 14 points in Townsville.
Joe Tarpanay opened the scoring for the visitors, but Josh Adokar hit back with a double. Hamaso Tabua Fido added another as the Indigenous men led 16-8 at half-time. 5/8 Brayson Trindle was awarded the Preston Campbell Medal for best on ground. The Indigenous side become the first team to win back-to-back All-Stars matches since the Maori were introduced to the concept in 2019.
Yeah, guys, I just want to say thank you to everyone that turned up today, all the mob. We love yous. This game doesn't happen without your followers. I want to thank the NRL, Peter Flanders and Abdo. Thank you, brother. Thanks, mate. Thank you for getting this game going.
The Indigenous Women's All-Stars recorded their biggest win with a 26-4 triumph over the Maori Ferns in Townsville. The All-Stars led 16-0 at half-time. Kimberly Hunt and Jamie Chapman both scored doubles. Kira Dibb starred and claimed the Trish Hina medal after kicking a 40-20 in the first half and producing a try assist in the second.
That ends True Kai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus, with you always.
The weather forecast for the next 24 hours. In southern region, Port Moresby City, possible brief showers. Daru, few showers. Kerema, possible brief showers. Alotau and Popondetta, mostly fine. In Mamasa region, Ley City, few showers. Medeng, brief showers. Wewak and Vanimo, few showers. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, few showers. Kavieng, some showers. Kokopo and Rabaul, brief showers. Kimbe, few showers and possible thunderstorms. And Buka, possible brief showers. In the islands region, Mount Agen City, some showers and possible thunderstorms. Goroka, Bans and Kundiawa, possible brief showers. Mendi, Tari and Wabeg, some showers and possible thunderstorms.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by Money Plus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Saturday, the 17th of February 2024. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.